Welcome everyone to today's talk with Amy, Understanding Careers in Construction. So this week it's really an important week because it's actually National Careers Week. So it's a week-long celebration of highlighting lots of different careers in different sectors, trying to highlight the different ways you can get in and actually seeing and meeting STEM professionals across the week to highlight the different insights into different careers across the whole industries. So we've got construction to pharmaceutical and many others. So today I'd like to welcome Amy, and great to hear about all about everything construction. Over to you, Amy.
Perfect, thank you. So hello everyone on this early morning, nice to see you all. So my name's Amy Packer, I'm the Social Value Manager here at Art Group London, and I'm going to be going through understanding the different careers available in construction. So at the end we'll have about 10 to 5 minutes to answer any questions, so feel free to put them into the chat as we go through the presentation and we will address them at the end. So let's make a start. Oh, the slide doesn't want to move. That's it. So as I mentioned, I'm Amy Packer, Social Value Manager at a construction company called Art Group London. So social value involves looking after our apprentices, recruiting new apprentices and helping them achieve their goal. So you might not quite understand what apprenticeships necessarily are at the moment, but we'll go into a bit more detail on them in a moment. And I also support people carrying out work experience, carry out careers talks, help people with CVs, mock interviews, all that side of things. So I actually started as an apprentice myself 8 years ago in the construction industry. So I originally completed my GCSEs, completed my A-levels, didn't really know what I wanted to do following that. Thought the best route for me would be go to university, which is what I applied for. I got accepted, and then due to family situations and financials, I was unable to progress with university. So I ended up on the apprenticeship route. And then since then, I've progressed over the last few years, and now I've become a manager. Like I say, and that was only 8 years ago that I started. So there's lots of progression opportunities within apprenticeships, which we will touch upon as we go through the presentation. So a main question that I get asked a lot when I do these talks is, what is construction? A lot of people have the concept of construction are all builders, but there's a lot more to it than just building the buildings. So obviously it creates where we live, so it creates your homes. It creates where we learn, so your schools, your colleges, your universities. It also creates where we work, so office facilities, to our theatres. So if anyone's been lucky enough to go to the West End and see any shows, this was one that we refurbed a couple of years ago. And then it also creates our leisure facilities, where you go to the gym, swimming, you go to after school clubs, things like that. And more importantly, recently, it provides energy saving techniques. So we have solar PV panels, electric vehicle charging points, which are really big in the industry at the moment. And there's a lot of work and a lot of apprenticeship opportunities to learn how to install the PV panels or the EV charging points. So altogether, it creates a fantastic industry and creates the world we live in. So it can provide brilliant career opportunities. A lot of people, as I said, don't realise the different opportunities available, which we'll touch upon in a second. But as a whole, construction industry employs over 3 million people, with only 14% of them being women. So there's a real shortage in women being encouraged into the construction industry, but there's lots of availability out there. And there's careers that suit everyone. So you might think, oh, there's nothing for construction in me. I really like design, or I really like this, but we'll go into a bit more detail at the minute, the actual opportunities you could have if you're interested in them sort of areas. And there's brilliant opportunities to work and travel abroad. I know a number of people that work for our company which previously have gone and worked out in Dubai or Australia and things like that. So there's lots of opportunities, and there's construction going on all day, every day. You'll probably see some down your road or around the corner to your school. There's always something going on. So there's a really good little quiz here called Go Construct. You can do a little personality quiz. It's just a couple of questions, takes about 5-10 minutes, and then it gives you a bit of an idea of what career in construction might be suited to you. So it might say, oh, you're really suited for architecture, and then it'll give you a bit of an idea of how you can progress to that and what your kind of potential salary earnings could be, which is a really good idea to have. So these are just some of the job opportunities within construction. Some of these you might recognise, some of them you might never have heard of. So we'll just touch on a couple of them. For example, a town planner. There's a real shortage of town planners within local authorities at the moment. So if you ever needed an extension on your house or things like that, you would have to go to the council to apply for planning permission. So these town planners would manage that. And there's a real cry out for the younger generation to complete apprenticeships and learn this trade. And then we also have things like quantity surveyors that you might not have heard of before. But if you enjoy maths or interested in like the accounting side of things, quantity surveying is a really good opportunity for this, because they will go out and measure the buildings, they'll work out the costs involved. So it's very similar to the accounting side of things, but they're more out on the ground, actually seeing the buildings. So as I just mentioned, if you're potentially interested in design or management, we've got a few different roles that might be related to kind of your interests. So for design and planning roles, we've got architecture, the landscape or the town planner that I just mentioned. So the architecture one's really good. So you can do a design apprenticeship with construction companies where you get the opportunity to get a degree at the end of it. And I'll go into a bit more detail in a couple of slides on that. And then we have the management roles, which is how I started with my apprenticeship. So I started with the business admin apprenticeship and then moved on to my level 2 and then my level 3. And then now I'm looking at the project management side of things, which will be my level 4, which is equivalent to a degree. So you can see there you've got project management, construction management, commercial management and engineering management. So these roles are really good. And then we have engineering and surveying. So the surveying roles I just touched on briefly with the quantity surveyor. You also have the estimator as well, which would price a job before we'd actually get onto site. So a lot of projects, so if a school, for example, come to us and said we need another 5 classrooms built, construction companies would come out, measure the job, and then an estimator would say it's going to cost this much for us to do the works. So they do that side of it. And then we have the engineering roles, so the civil engineering, structural engineering, and the building service engineering. But we also have the roles that people seem to forget about a little bit. They're the hidden roles within construction, and they're the IT, which is very important within construction. So they make sure that we can do things like this, the talk today. They look after all the computers for everyone, set up new software and that side of it. Then we have the legal side, who manage all our contracts. Financial, which is the accounts team. Human resources, which some people might know as HR. So they look after new people that join the business. So they would carry out your induction, and they would make sure you feel comfortable within the industry. They would help you book your holiday, things like that, and they're kind of that support network within the business. And then we have the administration staff, which is where I started off. Very, very important role. So every division needs admin support, because obviously, as you can imagine, day to day, they're running around out on site. They need that central person to help them with the admin. Corporate social responsibility is social value, which is what I've briefly touched upon earlier. So this is my role, which I currently work within. Not many people know about social value, but it's a growing industry at the moment. Every construction company has someone within the social value team. And as I mentioned, they support the apprentices, the work placements, and anyone looking at getting into the construction industry. So routes into construction. So we mentioned briefly, obviously, about the apprenticeship. So I'll give you a bit more detail about them. So apprenticeships is a mixture of college and work placement. So sometimes you could be at college 1 day a week and the other 4 days you'd be in employment. And then other courses, you might be at college 1 week out of the month, and then the other 3 weeks you'd be in employment. But I think the key thing is, which a lot of people don't realise, is you still get paid the days you're at college or university. So you're employed by your employer for that whole duration. Even though you're at college for a week or a day, you're still employed. So you get paid, and then obviously your employer is also paying for your course, which was a real highlight to me because of my situation at the time. So I didn't have the university debt afterwards. But it's also a great opportunity to develop your skills, because you're actually on the job learning with people that already have that experience, and then you achieve your recognised qualifications at the end of it. And it's an opportunity to start a successful career. So as I've mentioned, I started 8 years ago and I've developed my career. I know a few other people that have started their apprenticeship in certain trades, and they're now the supervisor of their site and things like that. So there is lots of opportunities. And you're also highly valued by employers because you've put that time in and the effort in to complete your apprenticeship, and they've put the time in to support you through it. So they want to see you grow within their company. So different types of apprenticeships. So these might be some of the ones you're more common with, the craft-based apprenticeships. So we have the plumbing apprenticeships, the electricians, the roofers, all that side of it. So the plumbing apprenticeship at the moment is really good. It's a 4-year apprenticeship course. But at the end of it, I don't know if many of you know about it, but at the end of it, you get your gas safe qualification, which is absolutely brilliant and can cost thousands of pounds to do yourself. So it's a really good course to go on to. And then you've also got all the other electricians, the floor layers, the plasterers, the scaffolders. All of these trades are crying out for new people to join the industry. And then the more technical apprenticeships, as I was just mentioning, that people don't always know about. So you can do your apprenticeships in design, quantity surveying. So we've got a gentleman with us at the moment. He joined us from leaving school at 16 years old. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. Was just looking for some work experience. He ended up with our quantity surveying team because he enjoyed the maths side of things. So we ended up putting him on his level 2, and he's been with us now for the last 5 years, and he's in his last year of his degree for his level 5. So he never thought from leaving school that he would ever be able to get a degree. So that's kind of the opportunities you actually have available to you. So as I just mentioned, the higher degree apprenticeships. So you're earning and learning, as we've just covered. It's an alternative route to the traditional university studies, but you can still gain your degree. So your higher apprenticeships in construction include level 4 and level 5, which sometimes are known as HNCs. And then you have your degree apprenticeships in construction, including your bachelor's and your master's degrees. So we also have a young gentleman with us doing his design degree, where he's going to achieve initially his level 5 HNC, and then go on to his master's in a few years to come. So there's lots of opportunities. The only route it isn't the only route by going to university straight away, and there is different options out there. So please feel free to put any questions in the chat, and I'll answer as many as I can. But yeah, so the future is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amy. A really interesting insight into the construction industry and seeing the different routes that actually don't have to always go to university. And there are actually apprenticeship routes as well and other ways to get into there. So we've got a few questions coming already.
Yep.
And please, as a reminder, thank you, Amy, please use the Q&A chat to ask any questions and we'll try and get them all answered for you. So the first one, and it relates to you, is how did you find out about your apprenticeship?
So I've done a lot of research online at the time. So if you look on the Gov website, you can actually search apprenticeships. So you can search the particular trade you're interested in, or you can search business admin, something like that. And then you can search the area you're interested in, and it will come up all the companies currently advertising apprenticeships within your area or within the area you're willing to travel. So yeah, for me, I was just looking online to see what was out there and just come across the apprenticeship that I ended up with. So yeah, there's loads out there. Have a look on that Gov website because all employers will advertise their apprenticeships on there. And there's also a good link. I don't know if we can send any links over after to the schools, but there's a good one called Talent View, which is also where employers have started putting construction opportunities on. So I'll speak to the team after and see if we can send some links over.
No, it'd be great, Amy, and yes, we can send them links
Perfect.
out to all participants and teachers. So the next one we've got is, what is your favourite part of your job?
My favourite part is giving people an opportunity to get into the construction industry. So when you get a chance to say to someone like that might not have done very well on their exams or struggling to find employment, and you can say to them that there's still options available and you can give them the option to grow and develop in something they're actually interested in. That's my favourite opportunity because I didn't have anything like that when I was at school. I didn't have that opportunity. So I think if I can help anyone in achieving that and doing something they enjoy, it makes me feel a lot better about my role.
Thank you, Amy. And the next one we've got is, what is it like working in the construction industry?
Very busy. So the construction industry is non-stop 24/7. So it's always busy, but it's very fulfilling. So especially if you're in a role where you're seeing a project go from where it's being priced to being built, you can see that end goal. So it's really good. A lot of the design team always say to me, like they initially do the drawings and then to see the building actually built from what they drew initially is a real achievement. So I think it's one of them only sort of industries where you can see something from the beginning, work all the way through and then see the end users actually using the building that you helped prepare. So yeah, a very busy industry, but very rewarding as well.
Thank you. So we've got another question, is, can someone with a degree get in through the apprenticeship as well?
Yeah, so if you've already got a degree, then obviously you might not necessarily need to do an apprenticeship. So it depends what your degree's in. So we do actually have someone with us at the moment who's got a degree in neuroscience, but he's been unable to get employment anywhere following the completion of his degree. So he's come to us to do a work placement for a few weeks. And he's actually looking at becoming a quantity surveyor. So he will now do his second degree, but in quantity surveying. So we've managed to be able to get him on the apprenticeship route to do that course. So depending on what your current degree is that you've got, there's still options to do another one if that's what you was interested in doing. So yeah, everyone's situation is different. But if it is someone in particular who is kind of interested, then we can give you my email address and feel free to get your school to contact and we can see kind of what options there are.
The next question is, and this could probably relate to apprenticeship or probably most likely apprenticeship, is what grades do you need?
So For the apprenticeships, so ideally you need at least a C in English and Maths, which I think is a 4. Is that correct? I'll get confused with the numbers and letters.
Yeah, it's a 4 or 5.
So ideally, but if for any reason you was unable to achieve them, you can be supported with them through your apprenticeship. But it would help if you did already have them. Obviously, it would save you a lot of work during your apprenticeship to redo them. But yeah, don't feel like you can't get an apprenticeship if you didn't have them. But yeah, ideally a C in English and Maths or a grade 4.
What would be your best advice to give to young people who might not know what they want to do? So what would be your best advice especially during now National Careers Week? What would be your best advice to young people?
I think initially taking as much information as you can from all the employers you're going to have talking to you over the next week. Also try and see if there's an option to get any work experience, maybe over your summer break or something like that, because work experience is key. So I done my some work placement when I was in year 10 at school, because I was set that I wanted to be an accountant. That was the only thing I wanted to do. That was always my dream. And I went and done work experience for 2 weeks in an accountancy company and then decided it wasn't for me. So until I think you do some work experience and actually try something out, you might not necessarily know. And then some construction companies as well give you the option to try different trades out over the week or 2 weeks work placement. So try and see if you can get anything like that. I know a lot of schools try and help people get work experience, but yeah, if you can do that, I think that is really key to try and gain some experience.
Look, thank you very much, Amy. And that's all the questions got for the time being. So I really just want to say a massive thank you to you, Amy, for joining us today for National Careers Week, and everyone else, all schools and students attending as well virtually. We hope you enjoyed today's session. Just to let you know, we've got many more sessions planned throughout the week, and you also could actually access lots of talks online, and there's so much advice out there these days. So whatever your career you're looking at or thinking about, please look at lots of careers websites, as they're really useful to help you understand what grades you need and pathways, as sometimes a pathway you think you might need could actually not might exist, but there might be other ones, alternatives as well. So thank you very much from all of us, and we hope you have a great day ahead.
Thanks, everyone.